Tonight on Connecticut's news station, a water rescue turns tragic.
The current just took them right out. That's what it looked like.
A mother and daughter dead after being swept away by fast-moving water.
A mother and her child drowned in a river yesterday, and now officials are issuing a stern warning and advice to prevent a similar incident from happening again. That's coming up on Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Plus, deadly days in the capital city. We're hearing emotional reaction from residents who are fed up with the rise in crime.
Politicians do not belong in people's personal private medical decisions, and that is something that our elected leaders in Connecticut continue to stand behind.
Plus, Governor Lamont signed several bills aimed at protecting reproductive rights in Connecticut.
Do you play? Behold the power of pickleball. It's alive and well in Wallingford. I'm Jim Altman. That story's ahead on the Fox 61 News.
Now at 6, this is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Evening, and thanks for joining us for the Fox 61 News at 6. I'm Jen Bernstein.
And I'm Brent Harden. We are following developing news. A mother and daughter have died after being swept down the Setauket River in Sprague yesterday. Police saying the mother, Kelly Dora of Norwich, was pronounced dead at the hospital. The child, 5-year-old Arilee McKeever, was taken to Connecticut Children's, and she died today. We spoke with a woman who saw the incident happen and called 911 when she heard a little boy calling for help for his mom and sister who were being swept down the river.
I'm sad today. I'm sad. Very sad. The current just took them right out. That's what it looked like.
My gut instinct was telling me it wasn't going to be a good ending no matter what, just based on what we got for initial information. Both of them, unfortunately, were, unresponsive at the time.
Now, police say foul play is not suspected and the incident is still under investigation. And in response to the tragic incident in Sprague, officials are now reminding everyone to take precautions in and on the water with hopes of preventing a similar incident from happening again.
Fox 61's Carmen Chow joins us in New Hartford by the Farmington River with their important message today. Carmen.
The Farmington River behind me isn't the river where the mother and child drowned, but we wanted to give you an example of just how strong the river current can be. Pay close attention to the pace of the water and the large splashes. That should be a strong indication no one should be in the river when it gets like this.
When you add current to water, it's extremely powerful.
When it comes to the extreme heat, it can be tempting to take a dip in a nearby river. But this year is a different story. With the extreme flooding and heavy rain lately, most river levels are at an all-time high.
There is so much debris right now. Water levels are just so high. At least in my career in the last 13 years in Connecticut, I can't really remember a time where we've had water levels in the rivers at this height.
At Satan's Kingdom in New Hartford is where they are known for tubing down the Farmington River. But for the past 2 weeks, they have closed out of safety for everyone, but tough for their business.
These currents can move rocks, boulders, trees. They sweep out the sand. They can carve out holes that were never there. They can move entire sandbars.
Even if it is a spot you are familiar with, Captain Kevin Manzalillo with Connecticut State Police say looks can be deceiving.
A river's very different than a swimming pool. There's a lot of stuff. You may look at it and it doesn't look like there's a lot going on the surface, but once you get below the surface, there could be currents that you're not aware.
If for whatever reason you are swept up by the current, he recommends swimming on your back with your toes up and pick an opportunity to escape. Your best bet for now, though, is to avoid swimming at any of the rivers until river levels return to normal.
You might say, well, I haven't had any rain where I live. Well, maybe 50 or 100 miles upriver they have. All those floodwaters are coming down from Vermont.
In addition to the tips you just heard, officials say if it is a hot day and the river still isn't safe enough to go in, your best bet is to actually go to a swimming pool or a splash pad. Reporting in New Hartford, Carmen Chow, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Important tips there, Carmen. Thank you. And turning to the weather now, dry today after we had some more rain yesterday.
Yeah, Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frayne joining us now with a look at the forecast. Rach, nice to give the umbrella a day off today.
Yes, and we get another break heading into the day tomorrow, which is just wild. 2 consecutive dry days this summer, unheard of. 83 degrees in Hartford, near the 80-degree mark for the New Haven area. You might notice still a bit of haze in the sky today. That is smoke from wildfires in Canada. Once once again. It's not affecting the air quality here at the surface too much. It's mostly in the upper levels. This is good. Moderate levels, though, across most of the state. You have to be super sensitive to be able to detect this. And I'm sure there are some of you out there, but there is no air quality alert in effect from this like there was yesterday at this time. Temperatures right now in the upper 70s to low 80s, mid 80s though for Windsor Locks. Taking a look, we got awfully close to some showers today, but they ended up missing us. Thank goodness. We don't need it. Stay away. Overnight lows will drop back into the 60s. Not refreshing, but certainly a comfortable evening ahead compared to recent nights this summer. We'll start the day off tomorrow with temperatures in the 60s and partly cloudy skies. It's even warmer tomorrow. We'll see high temperatures climb into the mid and even some upper 80s possible as we head through the afternoon. But obviously, we can't stray away from the showers for too long. You're going to be reaching for the umbrella at times on Friday. We're going to talk more about that, plus what it means heading into the weekend. Full forecast coming up.
Okay, thank you, Rachel. Well, Lakewood Beach in Waterbury is the latest Connecticut beach closed due to bacteria levels. Water at Lakewood Beach is tested daily, and officials say they will reopen as soon as levels become safe. Rocky Neck, Silver Sands, Cockaponset, Day Pond, and Gay City State Park are all also closed because of bacteria levels. Those parks are all tested weekly. Well, Capital City detectives working around the clock seeking leads in a drive-by shooting that had dozens of people ducking for cover last night and ended up killing a 25-year-old bystander.
Yeah, the shooting falls on the heels of a violent and deadly week that claimed 4 lives over 5 days. Fox 61's Samaya Hernandez has been speaking with community leaders and has new details on the investigations.
Hartford police would urge people not to look at this recent string of violence as one in the same. They say they are dealing with indoor personal targeted attacks, intimate partner violence, as well as street violence that had people running and ducking for cover.
This was a tough weekend, a tough few days in the city.
Hartford police seeking closure in 3 types of violent incidents in a 5-day span, each ending in loss of innocent life.
He is talking, so that's a very good sign. I know it was questionable for a little while whether or not he will survive.
Preliminary investigations reveal a 66-year-old man fighting for his life and 25-year-old Marion Edwards were not the intended targets when bullets pierced their heads, killing Edwards of Windsor.
This is a drive-by shooting. People, it was what you would imagine, people ducking for cover.
Burger Pizza Land was open around 8 o'clock Tuesday night, and dozens of people were out when numerous rounds rang out. Police say innocent life was also lost Saturday in a targeted robbery in the South End that killed 17-year-old Alondra Vega Martinez, who would have been a senior member of Bulkley High School's volleyball team this fall.
And our whole community is grieving with that family.
Monday, a 911 dispatcher was on the phone with 64-year-old Carolyn Williams when police say she was shot to death by her boyfriend, Lance Logan, less than 2 miles from the drive-by.
I'm not sure there's anything we can reasonably ask our police to do to prevent that, but what we can ask them to do is to act with speed and effectiveness to bring some closure to the community by bringing those responsible to justice.
People need to be able to see something and say something.
Community activist Hyacinth Yenny urging the community to put fear aside and get involved to quell violence.
If you have somebody in your home that's doing drugs and have guns that's illegal, you need to report it to the community. Okay, you need to report it to the police because the police can be everywhere, every time.
Today, we also learned that police have a warrant out for the 3rd suspect in that shooting on Saturday that killed the teenage girl. They're also seeking cell phone video from the drive-by shooting. They say there were many people outside. If you have any information to help police, you're urged to contact them. In Hartford, I'm Samaya Hernandez, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Samaya, thank you. And new tonight, Southington police are looking to identify a tip jar thief. Police releasing these photos of the suspect. They say the tip jar was stolen from Saint's Restaurant on Monday. The suspect allegedly went into the restaurant and ordered food, and once served, they ran off with the jar. Anyone who recognizes the suspect should contact police.
An update now. A Manchester man was in court today for charges involving threatening a police officer. The incident caught on body cam footage. Officers were responding to a domestic disturbance on Sunday at an apartment complex on North Main Street. Officers tried to de-escalate a fight between a man and a woman and say the man, Joseph DiLoretto, started charging at an officer with a knife in his hand. DiLoretto dropped the knife when he was shot by the officer. The case was continued to next month. And happening now, the Connecticut chapter of the NAACP hosting a community conversation about a recent audit claiming state police likely falsified tens of thousands of traffic tickets over the past decade. Governor Lamont announcing today an independent firm will look into that audit that also claimed police cherry-picked recording some infractions based on the race, which hides possible racial profiling. Governor Lamont says the firm expects to start investigating within the next week or so and won't be focusing on guilt, but more on how this happens. He added police should lose their jobs if it's determined they intentionally falsified records.
Wesleyan University announced it would end legacy admissions in the wake of the Supreme Court decision on affirmative action. In a statement, the university's president says an applicant's connection to a Wesleyan graduate indicates little about the applicant's ability to succeed at the university, meaning that legacy status has played a negligible role in our admissions process for many years. He went on to say that the university will continue to honor its longstanding commitment to diversity. Well, after that controversial ruling, among others, a new Quinnipiac poll shows most Americans are not pleased with the Supreme Court. Respondents gave the Supreme Court an all-time low approval rating last month, and it's only slightly improved. 70% of Americans say they think Supreme Court justices are too influenced by politics, and more than 4 in 10 Americans classified the current court as too conservative. But when it comes to whether universities should be allowed to use race as a factor in admissions, 6 in 10 say the Supreme Court ruling got it right, and colleges should not consider it.